Have you ever wondered what it feels like to see the world for the very first time as an adult? On a quiet afternoon in May 1828, a strange young man appeared in a public square in Nuremberg, Germany. He was around 16 years old, but he walked with great difficulty, as if he didn't know how to use his legs. He held a mysterious letter in his hand addressed to a military captain. When people tried to talk to him, the boy did not understand them. He only repeated one single phrase over and over again. "I want to be a writer like my father was." He was dirty, confused, and terrified of the crowd around him. No one knew who he was or where he came from. He was a complete mystery, a boy who seemed to have dropped straight from the sky into the modern world. The townspeople soon realized that this boy was completely different from anyone they had ever met. He refused to eat meat or vegetables, accepting only plain black bread and fresh water. His senses were incredibly sharp. He could see perfectly in the dark like a cat, and loud noises made him cry in pain. Slowly, as he learned to speak from a kind schoolmaster, a shocking story began to emerge. For as long as he could remember, the boy, who called himself Kaspar Hauser, had lived in total darkness. He had spent his entire life inside a tiny, dark room or dungeon. He could not stand up straight or walk. He had never seen the sun, felt the wind, or heard another human voice. Every morning, while he was asleep, a mysterious man brought him bread and changed his clothes. When Kaspar left his dark prison, everything in our world was a breathtaking miracle to him. The first time he looked at a beautiful green tree, he wept because the colors were too bright for his eyes. He didn't understand that pictures were flat, and he thought that snow was a white powder that someone had spilled from the sky. But Kaspar was remarkably intelligent. With the help of his new guardians, he learned to read, write, and speak excellent German in just a few months. He loved playing with toys, especially wooden horses, and he began to paint beautiful pictures. People from all over Europe traveled to Nuremberg just to see him. They called him the Child of Europe, a pure human being who had grown up completely untouched by society. As Kaspar became famous, dangerous rumors began to spread across Germany. Kaspar started to remember small details from his childhood before the dark room. He recalled a castle and royal symbols. Many people began to believe that Kaspar was not just a poor orphan. A popular theory appeared that he was actually a royal prince, the secret son of the Grand Duke of Baden. According to the rumor, wicked relatives had stolen the baby from his cradle and hidden him away in a dark dungeon for 16 years so that someone else could take the throne. Suddenly, the innocent boy became a threat to very powerful and dangerous people. Strange men began to follow him in the shadows, and Kaspar felt that his freedom would not last long. The story of the Child of Europe ended as mysteriously as it began. In December 1833, Kaspar was invited to a lonely public garden by a stranger who promised to give him a bag with secrets about his real identity. Instead of answers, Kaspar was attacked. He managed to run home, but his wounds were too deep, and he passed away peacefully a few days later. On his gravestone, they wrote, "Here lies Kaspar Hauser, a riddle of his time." To this day, historians still argue about his true identity. But his story leaves us with a beautiful lesson. Kaspar showed us how magical and wonderful our world looks through the eyes of someone who sees it for the very first time. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next story.